Good evening and welcome to another edition of Msw Films, your one-stop shop for internet entertainment. Tonight I want to talk about serial killers. And the serial killer I'd like to talk about tonight is Ed Gein. Okay, Ed Gein's, what he did, just this crazy motherfucker from Wisconsin, back in the 1950s, did some pretty crazy shit. It's actually not as crazy as a lot of things that have happened like these days, but back then it was extremely shocking. And also, how many movies were based off of this nutbag's his actions? So let's get right into it. So Edward Theodore Gein, he was born in August 27th, 1906, and he died on July 26th, 1984. Okay, and he lived in, was it Plainfield? Yeah, Plainfield, Wisconsin is where he was born and raised, and he was raised on a farm with his mother and his brother, and he was a mommy's boy. He was a farmer boy. They owned property, a good amount of property and stuff in Wisconsin, and his brother later on in life had died. Some people, like if you ever watched the Ed Gein movie, they say that he killed his brother. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows if that's true or not. But his brother did die nonetheless. And when his brother died, him and his mother had such a close relationship. It was just those two. And he was very, isolated from the world. He was a very quiet person. And then his mother died. And she died of a stroke, I believe. And when she died, this motherfucker was lost. And he was just lost. He that was his whole life, was his mom. So kind of one of those things of why you shouldn't always just be a mommy's boy or live at home till you're 30 or 40 years old, because you're going to be fucked up in your head. You're just not going to be right. There's a reason people need to get out there and get on their own. Not saying that was his issue. This guy was clearly mentally fucked up, clearly. But the death of his mother really, it really made that go further to where he'd only killed two people. That's the one thing. He killed two people. Let's see. He killed Mary Hogan in 1954, and then that was like a tavern owner in his town, and then he also killed the hardware store owner, Bernice Worden. That's the one that they busted him on, was the Bernice Worden murder. When police were looking for her, and he was the last person that they had known to speak with her or see her when she went missing. So eventually they went looking on Ed's property, and when they were looking around, the detectives and the police opened up the barn door, and there she was, just hanging like a fucking deer. Like from your Achilles tendons, you can hang a person by that, just like you do a deer when you skin them. And she was skinned, and they had never seen anything like that in their life. This was horrific. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Then as they went into the house, it turns out that Ed killed two people, but his main hobby after his mother died, he was a grave robber, man. He dug up graves and he took the bodies. So he's a body snatcher. This is what he did with his spare time. I guess when you have nothing and you go crazy like that, I mean, it's out there. But he would take these bodies and he would make stuff out of them. So just to give you some examples of things that he made out of people's bodies that the police actually found and have photos of and all that good stuff. He found whole human bones and fragments, a wastebasket made out of human skin, human skin covering several chair seats, so I mean human chair covers, skulls on his bedpost. So he had skulls on his bedposts, female skulls, some with the top sawn off, bowels made from human skulls, or I'm sorry, what am I saying? Bowls made from human skulls, A corset made from a female torso, skin from the shoulders to waist. Leggings made from human leg skin. Masks made from the skin of female heads. Mary Hogan's face mask in a paper bag. Mary Hogan's skull in a box. Bernice Warden's entire head in a burlap sack. Bernice Warden's heart in a plastic bag in front of Gein's pot-bellied stove. 9, what is this? Volvo? Oh my goodness, yeah. I was wondering what this is. This was like what my dog has, the vulva, the pussy. The 9 pussies in his shoebox. Motherfucker had 9 pussies in his shoebox. Talk about a pocket pussy. What a sick motherfucker. A young girl's dress and the vulvas of 2 females judged to have been about 15 years old. Oh, that's fucking sick. A belt made from female human nipples. That would have been interesting looking. 4 noses. A pair of lips on the window shade drawstring. Creative. A lampshade made from the skin of a human face. Fingernails from female fingers. Now, just so you know, the main thing is notice all these were women. He had a fascination with women, and what later came to be was because they realized Ed Gein wanted to be a woman. When his mother died, he obviously had serious mental issues, but I mean, when his mother died, there was nothing containing him from hiding, who he was. He had all this, acres, hundreds of acres of property. So nobody saw him or anything like that. He could do what the fuck he wanted, and he would. He would dress up in these ladies' skins and become a woman and go flapping around. So you could say that he was one of, I wouldn't say he was the first, but he was the one of the most famous first transgender people, if you will. Mentally fucking ill to the max. So anyway, many movies have been based upon his crimes. Also, another thing before I get into that of what happened was when Ed Gein's mom died, it's also rumored, I never known this to be totally complete fact. I've done a lot of research on Ed Gein, and I've never they never confirmed this, but supposedly his mother's body was missing from her grave when he was a grave robber. So it is rumored that he had taken his mom's corpse and stuffed it and taxidermied her corpse and kept it around so that he felt like his mother was still with him. Which this is where Alfred Hitchcock got the idea for the movie Psycho. That was all based off of Ed Gein's crimes. Then another movie would be, of course, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, with him dressing up in Leatherface and wearing people's skin and running around. He never used a chainsaw or any of that bullshit. In fact, the 2 people he killed, if I'm not mistaken, killed him with a shotgun. But he took them home and went to work and making some of this wild, crazy shit. So another movie that's based on that, Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses, which is basically just a ripoff of, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from Tobe Hooper. Another movie that's based off of this is Silence of the Lambs with Buffalo Bill, the way he wanted to be a woman, and he was killing women and making a fucking suit out of them because he wanted to be a transgender. Fucking mentally ill people. So when all this shit went down and the police came and they raided his farm and found all this horrific yet interesting creative shit that this dude's fucking with. You know, they arrested his ass. He would have gotten life in prison, I'm sure, probably even put to death. But after, you know, evaluating him, they declared him to be fucking mentally insane. He was insane. So he wound up being sentenced to a mental institution for the remainder of his life, when he died of like liver cancer and I think respiratory failure and stuff like that. He was like 77 years old, and he died in the mental institution. But so these are facts of what happened with Ed Gein and what movies today come from. There's songs about him. Blind Melon has one called Skinned. There's, you know, Dead Skin Mass from Slayer. These are all about Ed Gein. So once this motherfucker went down in the history books for just being a whack job, dude. But he definitely was an original serial killer. So he's one of the, when it comes to serial killers, he's always going to stay at the top, mostly because he's the most well-known. Kind of like how when you go to school, they always teach you about Hitler, but they'll never tell you shit about Joseph Stalin and Mao, who killed way more people than Hitler. So I'll get into other serial killers in other videos, because there are some fucking crazy people out there. And to me, the serial killer is always an interesting study, especially because I like psychology, and I like to know. Ed Gein was just fucking, he wasn't smart. Most serial killers are extremely intelligent. This motherfucker was dumb as a rock. He really was dumb. The only reason he got away with what he did was because he was so isolated on his property and kept to himself, you know. And back then in the 50s, people didn't just... you know, they wouldn't fuck with you like how everything is now under surveillance and shit. So that's the reason he got away with that for as long as he did. But wasn't intelligent by any means. He was insane and crazy and pretty fucking dumb. But just let me know what you think in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and make sure you ring that bell to get new notifications of our new videos.
Who rang that bell?
Hopefully you did. Thanks. Have a good night.
Hey, hey!